I am with County Executive Fitzwater, Miss Jessica here, and I appreciate the time today. We're Rotarians at Key City together, and I'm really trying to get around to as many Rotarians as possible because I really think it's really nice to have a deeper understanding of kind of what got you here, and that's kind of the purpose of this. So what got you here?
Well, first of all, thank you for thinking of me for this. I've been so impressed by all your other guests, and I think it's just a really neat way for people to get to know members of the community. So thank you.
Oh, of course.
I say I probably had a different sort of path to elected office. I don't come from a political family.
I was going to ask how you got here.
Yeah,
so
no, I don't come from a political family. I mean, what I will say, my family clearly really valued community service and public service. My parents were both very involved in our community. I grew up in Smithsburg, so in Washington County. I tell people on Wolfsville Road, just over the mountain, but the Washington County side of Wolfsville Road. But always very active in our community and really modeled that for my sister and I. And my mom was an educator, a lifelong educator. My dad worked for a small company in Hagerstown for many years. And he now works at the Weinberg Center and at the Delaplane. So lots of people see him at the box office or the front desk there in the community here. But I really got involved because I just care about my community, wherever that might be, whether it was when I was growing up back home in Smithsburg, when I was in college at St. Mary's College of Maryland. I got very active in the campus community and in student government. And then when I moved to Frederick as a brand new first-year teacher, like a lot of new teachers, I kind of had you have your blinders on and you're really focused on surviving that first year. But I learned really quickly that being an educator is being a member of a very highly politicized profession.
It is.
You know, everything about public education is decided by an elected leader at some level, whether it's your local board of education all the way up to the federal government. And most of them haven't been in a classroom since they were a student. And I found that, you know, starting to learn more about who the decision makers are, who's deciding things, everything from the physical buildings to how many resources are going to our schools, curriculum and training and educator pay, and so for what's happening for our support staff, was all being decided by elected officials. And so I started to go to Board of Education and County Commissioner meetings. I started to go down to Annapolis to lobby our legislators for better school funding and school policy issues. I got very active in the Frederick County Teachers Association as a building rep for my school, Oakdale Elementary, and then on the board of directors there, and got very involved in the Maryland State Education Association and the National Education Association. And so that's really what did it for me. I realized that in order to really be a strong advocate for my students and my school, I needed to show up. I needed to talk about the impacts of these types of decisions on our students. I ran for the county council in 2014, was so honored to be elected into that first county council, ran for re-election in 2018, so I was able to serve for 8 years on the council, and then ran for county executive in 2022 on making sure that we can keep moving things forward for Frederick.
That's pretty good, 3 for 3. I mean, you can't complain about that, but you know, it really is true. You can't keep complaining about something and not trying to do something about it. Kudos to you for really stepping really into the fire, though.
Yes. Anyone who followed the last campaign knows that was definitely part of it.
And I hate that about politics. Good people won't keep running. You know, it's really going to keep some really good people, I think, out of making some great changes for the community. So yeah, I hate that. I hate that for every single one of you. But I'm glad you guys are doing it and not me, because I don't think I'd be very good. I'd be crying every night. Your passion around education and the arts, I think, is clear in a lot of the stuff that you do. So you were a dancer.
Yeah, so we're talking about that. I danced all through school and college, and when I got to Frederick, right out of college, I was looking to get involved in the arts, and there is an adult modern dance company called Equinox Dance Company. We were just talking about Kim with Sass Magazine. That's how I know her. And so I danced for many years with them. I also play the violin, and I played with the Frederick Symphony Orchestra for over a dozen years, served on their board of directors for a while.
Wow.
Things like having children and, you know, running for high office does change some of that, but I still play and we do a lot of music with my kids. When I taught music at Oakdale Elementary. I taught there for 17 years. I had a chorus before school, and also started a dance club there to just have the students have some additional arts opportunities outside of the music classroom.
Yeah.
I actually really think if more people were involved in the arts, and not just being a patron of the arts, but actually expressing themselves through art. It's such a connector. It's really the universal language. I mean, you can get together with people who you've never met, who you maybe don't even speak the same language as them. You can make music together, you can dance together. It's just, it's healing, and it really is, it's like an equalizer, and it can really bring people together. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be a music teacher. But also, especially the performing arts, you have to listen to people. I mean, if you're in an orchestra or a band or any kind of performing ensemble, it is never just about you. It doesn't matter if you're not listening to the people around you. Voices aren't blending together, you're not able to be flexible and respond to what's happening around you. And I think that is what makes a good leader as well. I found that I learn so much in this job every day, but a lot of it is by listening to others. Anybody who tries to say they go into a position, most elected offices, but especially something like an executive position that's overseeing all of these myriad of functions in county government, no one running for a job like this knows everything about every single one of those things. And so you have to be willing to learn, you have to be willing to listen, you have to build a team of folks that are those experts and that are going to ask good questions and challenge you. And so having that kind of skill of listening that you build as a musician, but also as an educator, I think that has been so valuable to me in this role.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't look old enough to have been teaching for 17 years. You've been on the council for 8. County executive now.
Well, I did. So our county council is part-time. So I was teaching and on the council at the same time.
Okay,
But
gotcha. I was going to say, can't add all of those together.
I proudly just celebrated my 40th birthday in December.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations. You're still way behind, but it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. You're doing great things in the 40 short years. So that's amazing. Is there anything that you're just like so super proud of? Or is it just kind of, you feel that way kind of almost daily?
Well, I would say both. You set me up really well for that because, look, Frederick County is the best county in the state of Maryland, in my opinion. I mean, I'm clearly a little biased, but no, I tell people all the time that we really have it all, and I think it's a combination of we're the largest landmass county in the state, which means we get to have our incredible natural resources. We have national and state parks here. We have our natural, we have the Monocacy River, and we have the mountains. We have all these beautiful things in nature. We have our ag land, our agritourism that folks can get out and really get out on our farms. But we also are home to the second biggest municipality in the entire state. We have this booming, thriving downtown in the city of Frederick, and all of our incredible historic municipalities with their own culture and history. We're bringing new businesses and seeing businesses expand in innovative industries like life sciences and biotech. So we really have the opportunity to kind of maintain that for our community and to continue to expand. And I think that's wonderful. But we also have our people. And I've had the opportunity to talk about this many times, whether it is through Rotary, working with the chamber with different things, seeing how our nonprofit sector works with the private sector, works with our philanthropic organizations. Folks in Frederick want to use their time and their talent and their treasure to come together on issues that are facing the community, to think outside the box for solutions, and to roll up their sleeves and actually do the work, not just, throw out the idea and walk away. And it's not like that everywhere. I mean, I even feel with the county government, we have really strong partnerships with our school system, with our municipalities, with our private and public partners. And that's how we can get things done. So I get to brag about that wherever I go. And so that's one of my favorite parts of my job. But it's also critically important because Frederick County deserves its fair share of state investment and federal investment. And so the more that I, myself, our county council members, and other leaders in the community can really tell Frederick County's story and make that case for investment, that's only going to do good for us for years and years to come. And so it's such an important but also very enjoyable part of my job that I'm very honored to get to do.
Yeah.
In terms of other things I'm proud of, honestly, I said from day one that accountability, inclusion, and sustainability were going to be my core values, and not using those as buzzwords, but really entrenching all of our decisions and our processes, rooting them in those core values. With accountability, I set off on my administration with a huge transition team of over 120 members of the community, asking people who'd never really been brought to the table before to pitch in and really think big and bold about what we should be focusing on and what they see for the future of Frederick. We held a reconvening of the transition team in April to get their feedback. We have a dashboard on the website for people to look at to see what kind of progress we've made. So making sure that we're including folks, many different folks, geographic diversity, ethnic diversity, different professional backgrounds, different ages, in work groups like that, in our boards and commissions. That's really important to me. And also making sure internally that we're an employer of choice, that people want to come work here and they see a future for themselves in Frederick County government. We're working on all of those fronts, continuing to build partnerships. We've been able to make announcements like launching the first ever Office of Agriculture. We got to cut the ribbon on the brand new Middletown Library, and soon we'll be cutting the ribbon on a new active adult center in Middletown, which we're excited about. We've purchased property for new school sites to try to deal with the overcrowding situation. So we're just always thinking strategically, trying to put our heads together and continue to work with our partners to get things done.
Yeah, I mean, super smart to utilize all these people in the community to kind of help funnel these things to you. I think you're just really opening yourself up to a lot of great opportunity to impact a greater majority of the county. So, I mean, I think that that's wonderful, and it's excellent and super smart. She's super smart, super smart.
Well, I will say, when you open yourself up to ask for feedback and input, you do open yourself up to criticism sometimes, right?
It's funny, I've just asked for, I've told everybody I'm doing my 100 show survey, and I said, you can be critiquing. I'm fine with taking the criticism. I'm not going to take it personal, but I know it's just an effort to get better. So sometimes you do have to be willing to look from other people's perspective, and when you do that in a non-emotional way, and kind of hear what people are saying, you're really listening, and you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can actually see how what I'm doing here is affecting that, or whatever. So,
yeah, no, it's hugely helpful.
Can't please everybody, though, as you know. You try to do your best, as we all do. But I do love this town. Is there anything kind of out there that's just kind of that pinboard thing that you're like, gosh, I'd really love to accomplish this, and then I'll kind of feel like I've wrapped it all up? Or do you feel like, hey, there's more, there's really more, and maybe there's something at the state level, or maybe there's something larger?
So it's so interesting. It's a question I would say I probably do get asked often, but so much of the work that, if you're really doing county government work well, so much of it is long-term. And if you think about it, that doesn't always fit well with being like an elected official, and you have to, win your job again, right? You have usually
this is 10 years out. This is 12 years out,
usually 4 years, and you're asking the voters whether they're going to, they're going to hire you again for this job. And there are certainly things that we've been able to show that we have been able to accomplish quickly. Like I said, I think investing in infrastructure in places that it matters. Also investing in the community. I mean, really doing a lot of data-driven work. Our partnership with, the health department and Frederick Health Hospital, with what we're doing with the Family Connects program, with home visits for new moms, what we're doing with our Black maternal and child health work, what we're doing with our Division of Family Services and Workforce Services on our child care market study, really looking at local data, local needs, and talking to our community members who are impacted by some of these different, whether it's disparate health outcomes, whether it's lack of access to affordable or quality childcare. So we're doing that kind of work that really does impact the community. But a lot of what the county does is also long-range planning. It's land use. It's how are we going to preserve more ag land? How are we going to preserve our natural resources and protect the environment and prepare for better climate resiliency? How are we going to build where we should build and make sure we have enough commercial land for the businesses that want to come here and enough homes for the people that want to live here? So that type of work is long-term. An example is this year we passed the South Frederick Corridors Plan, which is one of our parts of Livable Frederick, our long-range plan. That is the 85-355 area that's really ripe for redevelopment, making it more walkable, making there be housing where there's employment, having better connection to the MARC train there and to our bus routes and to the Ballinger Creek Trail for people that want to bike. That's going to be an incredible part of the county. And we're not really going to see it for quite a few years. And so some of those types of long-range planning, it's you're doing the work now that's going to have the impact later, even if you're not necessarily the one in the seat when those things are happening. But that is just the nature of the job.
Yeah, it is absolutely. Well, I do love how accessible you are. I love that you're in the community a lot. I don't feel like you kind of hold yourself up and shut the door and wait for the call or email or whatever. So I think that that's great because you truly are a part of the community and you see and experience and hear what people are dealing with every day. So I think that that's appreciated not only by me, but I'm sure the rest of the county as well. And, we look forward to these next couple of years and hopefully maybe 4 years beyond that for you to continue to do what you've set out to do. I think they're great goals. And again, I think you've surrounded yourself with some great people to help get that done.
Well,
Is there
thank you.
anything else you would love to tell the Good Morning Frederick viewers?
I would just say that I already said how amazing our community is. But one thing I'm always very aware of is it is easy when you have, either been in a leadership position for a while, you've been in a community for a while, you start to build your network. It's really easy to kind of always rely on those same folks. And I'm very cognizant of that, of really always wanting to make sure that, have I thought about it from this other perspective? Is there either a person or, a group from a certain professional background or a part of the county where maybe I haven't heard enough from? And what can I do to be more intentional about that? And that's something that I'm always striving for. And we're trying to do that, both internally with how we're doing our hiring practices and how we're posting our jobs to get more diverse candidates to apply for positions in Frederick County, but also with our boards and commissions. And so what I'll say for folks who are watching who are like, maybe I want to learn a little bit more or get a little bit more involved, we have community-driven boards, commissions, or councils on many, many different topics. So we have a commission for women. We have a commission on disabilities. We have our Human Relations Commission that focuses on human rights and anti-discrimination. We also have our Agricultural Business Council, our Agricultural Preservation Board. We have our Plumbing Board. We have folks that are advocating for folks with disabilities, all sorts of different focus areas that help to bring voices from the community in a more formal way into county government. So these boards and commissions can make comment on legislation. They can write letters advocating for certain policy to the county executive or the council. Sometimes they're out in the community doing education and outreach. But we're always looking for new people to step up because that's going to just enrich the type of input and feedback that we get. And it also is a great way for you to just kind of dip your toe into government a little bit, but like you're not running for something. You just put in your letter of interest and resume and it's an appointment. So I always like to just share that.
It's the way to suck you in, though. I'm just kidding. No, it's really great. Look, it keeps things fresh. It keeps perspectives fresh. And again, if people are out there thinking, oh, I really wish they would do this. Well, instead of they, how about we?
Yes.
Shifting people's perspective.
Sometimes an issue, a very real issue that they might have, our job might be to connect them to the decision maker. Right. Sometimes it's an issue on a road, but it's a state road, or it's an issue, but it's actually in a municipality and it's actually the city or the town's responsibility, but we are there to connect. And that way we can also help people understand, okay, well, I'm voting for all these people at all these different levels of government, who is really doing what, and how can I be an effective advocate? How can I engage? So always encourage people to get involved, or just look at the agendas of upcoming meetings and see if there's something that you really really care about. Our county council has public comment at almost all their meetings, and it's a great opportunity to also just share your thoughts with some of your elected officials.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we appreciate her time. County Executive Jessica Fitzwater, I really appreciate you taking the time. Really honored that you would sit down with me, and we will see you guys next time.